All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of the millstone, who rule well and teach well, being parents on touch on our brothers. And peace and blessings to those from Lakewood, well, I'm part of that number. I'm the brother Kadar from the G-Man's back in Chicago. Come back another video. This video is going to be entitled Northern Kingdom Coming to the Western Hemisphere. All right, this is for people coming in, wondering why, Israel split. And I'm gonna get straight to the history, man. It's gonna be another history video. I'm gonna start off at 1 Kings 11:1. But King Solomon loved many strange women together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonianites, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said to the children of Israel, "You shall not go into them, neither shall they come into you. For surely they will turn away your mind after their gods." Solomon clave unto these in love. All right. I'm going to skip to verse 4. It said, "For it came to pass when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh, his power, as was the heart of his David, his father." So he wasn't on point no more, because when you get older, you get weaker physically, you get weaker mentally, just because you're of old age. So he was dealing with these young, beautiful women of these other nations. They was able to steer his mind, because of him not having that mental fortitude like he did, at his young age. So, they turned his mind, how women are, using their beauty, soft talking you. And he was an old man, so he gave into it, For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, that's an idol, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh, as did his father. Then Solomon built in high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, and the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. So he built, temples and stuff for all his women's god, of the heathens. And Yahweh was angry with Solomon because his mind was turned away from Yahweh, God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. And he commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which Yahweh commanded. And that's in the law. That's the basics. Wherefore Yahweh said unto Solomon, "For as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my commandments and statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant." So the Lord said, I'm going to take this kingdom away from you. All right, I'm going to give it to one of your servants. Notwithstanding, in thy days, I will not do it for David, thy father's sake. So he said, while you living, I'm not going to do it for your father's sake, But I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. And who was Solomon's son that came into power after Solomon? It was Rehoboam. All right. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but give one tribe to thy son for David, for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. And Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was one of the king's seed in Edom. All right. So when King David sent his nephew Joab, to Edom, the Hadad, which it said, where is it? Give me a second. Yeah, he was of the bloodline of the king of Edom. He fled into Egypt. All the days of David. When David passed away, he told the Pharaoh, which he had the favor of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh gave him his daughter. Let me go back into my land. Because King David was going heavy on these demons, man. These heathens, man. All right. And that shows you right there, as it says in the book of Judith, when we go off, the Lord stirs up our adversaries, man. Just puts the spirit on them, and to try to combat us, man. All right. Now, let me read 1 Kings 11:21. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his father, so David passed away. And that Joab, the captain of the host, was dead, so Joab also was passed away. Hadad said it to Pharaoh, because Joab was, David's nephew. That was like his hitman, his right-hand man, when it comes to warfare. Hadad said to Pharaoh, let me depart, that I may go to my own country. Pharaoh tried to make him stay, but he wanted to go. Now I'm going to skip to verse 23. And the Most High stirred him up another adversary, Rezon, the son of Eliada, which fled from the Lord, Hadadezar, king of Zobah. And he gathered men out of him, who became captain over a band when David slew them of Zobah. And they went to Damascus and dwelt therein, and reigned in Damascus. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon. Beside the mischief that Hadad did, he abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerah, he became an adversary for Israel, man. And I'm going to keep reading verse 26. Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerah, Solomon's servant, he was an Ephraimite, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widowed woman. Even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo, and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious. Now, damn, I should have got it. Let's get that word, industrious. All right. 28. Okay. Industrious. All right. Now that Hebrew word is Aisha. All right, it says to do, work, make, produce. All right, to repair, to prepare, So basically, he was a good worker. All right, just going into the word, that's, what we got to do, just to prove the point. And he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph, So when you on point, you get more responsibilities. All right, so King Solomon noticed that, and, he made him the head of Israel, or the northern kingdom. And it came to pass at the time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way. He had clad himself in a new garment, and they too were alone in the field. So it was just them two. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was with him and rent it into 12 pieces. So he ripped the garment into 12 pieces. Verse 31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces. All right, so take you 10 pieces of this cloth, of your garment that I just ripped. For thus saith Yahweh, the God of Israel, the power of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon and give 10 tribes to thee. All right. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Okay. And because so I'm gonna read over. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake. All right. So you're gonna have Judah and Benjamin. And Levi wasn't considered a tribe. Back then. All right. So you had the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom, Issachar all the way down to Ephraim all the way down to Issachar, Salakia. All right, including Dan at the time. All right, that's why I said 10. All right, because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgment, as did David his father. So David was a man after my heart, but Solomon, when he got into old age, he fell off. And the Lord punished Israel for it. The Lord punished them for it. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake. So the Lord didn't take it away from Solomon immediately, for David's sake, whom I chose because he kept my commandments and statutes. But I would take the kingdom out of his son's hand and give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. All right? And his son I will give him one tribe, that David my servant may have light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. Okay? But I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shall be king over Israel, king over North Kingdom. All right. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways, and do that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. So he said, I'm gonna give Israel to you if you actually follow me. Yeah. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, and Shishak king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. Solomon tried to take him out, and the rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did. I'm gonna continue to read. I'm gonna read verse 43. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David, his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. So Solomon passed away. All right. Now this all started when Solomon, committed spiritual adultery, because he was of old age. Now, First King 12 and Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. All right. Now I'm gonna skip to. I'm gonna keep reading Salaki. And it came to pass, when Jeroboam the son of Nebat was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him. And Jeroboam, all the congregation of Israel, came and spake unto Rehoboam Solomon's son, saying, Thy father have made our yoke grievous. All right, grievous labor. Now therefore make thou the grievous service to thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. Okay, so he said, lighten the burden, and we're going to serve you. And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, and then come to me, and thy people departed. So he said, go and come back in 3 days. I'm going to give you your answer. All right, and King Rehoboam consulted with his old man. He consulted with a man of experience, the man of wisdom. And they gave him the correct answer. They told him, hey, if you lighten the burden, they're going to serve you forever, But Rehoboam, he wasn't right, man. I'm going to read verse 8. It said, but he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they have given him, and consulted with the young men that were growing up with him. So the people he grew up with, he got advice from them. Your friends and stuff like that. You're not supposed to take advice from them, man. Especially you being a king. All right? The whole nation's in your responsibility that were growing up with him and which stood before him. All right, he said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make thus yoke, which thy father did put upon his lighter. All right. They basically told him to make the yoke worse. I'm going to skip to verse 11. And now you could read verse 10. And now whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father have chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions, man. All right, so they basically told him, hey, tell him, I'm going to make your affliction worse. All right. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam, third day. So they came. All right. This is what Rehoboam said. Verse 14, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Okay? Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahweh, that he might perform his saying, which Yahweh spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw the king hearken not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed into their tents. Verse 18. Then the king of Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was tribute, And all Israel stoned him with stones. So they killed him, that he died. Therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him a chariot to flee out to Jerusalem. So he had to get up out of there, man. So Israel rebelled against the house of David, and to this day, So that's when they split. So it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, they sent and called him into the congregation and made him king over all Israel. So he was king over the northern kingdom. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. But at first Levi was with the northern kingdom, but they sent him to the southern kingdom, because Levi was in the suburbs of every tribe. They didn't have a particular land to themselves because the Lord was their inheritance, man. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah and with the tribe of Benjamin 184,000 chosen men. So 180,000 chosen warriors to fight against the house of Israel to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, to try to get the kingdom back. But the word of the Most High came to Shemaiah the son of the Most High saying, speaking to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus saith Yahweh, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house. So they told him, hey, don't go fight them. And they hearkened to the Lord. All right. Then Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David, because he seen they hearken to the Lord. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto the Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made two calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. All right. So he said, if y'all don't want to go up to Jerusalem, behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So Jake built the same similar calves, the one that they made Aaron build. All right, and said, this is the God that freed you out of Egypt. All right. So let me check how many. Damn. I probably might have to make a part 2. And he said, the one in Bethel and the other he put it down. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto dance. So people went to go worship the idol. And he made a house of high places, and he made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. All right. Yeah, that was the point. So at that time, Jake started to go off. Northern kingdom, southern kingdom started worshiping idols. So what did the Lords do? The Assyrian, they put the northern kingdom into heavy bondage, and they took them into captivity. All right. And then what happened to the southern kingdom? The Babylonians took over them. They sacked the temple. Let me try to find it real quick. Give me a second. Salakia. Judah. There we go. 2 Kings 25 and 21. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away out of their land. All right. So Judah was taken into, the southern kingdom was taken into Babylon, and northern kingdom was taken into Syria. We was taken out our lands because we went off, man. We sinned. Okay. Now, after the Assyrian captivity, our northern kingdom decided to go to the Americas. And I'm gonna prove that right now. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king who Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. Okay, so Babylon took Judah, southern kingdom, and Assyria took northern kingdom, Israel. Led away captive, he carried them over the waters, so they came into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. All right, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So they went over to the Americas to try to keep the laws, statutes, commandments to the best of their ability, and a place into Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. For the Most High has then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. All right, because that Euphrates, that's a wild river, man. You know, and the Lord held it still. Okay, now let me just try to. I'm gonna go back. Euphrates River. Give me a second. I need a map. Give me a second. Yep, Euphrates map. All right. So Jake took the Euphrates River and crossed all the way over to the Americas. All right. I wish I could like make an arrow of it, but it is what it is. And what I'm gonna continue to read is gonna prove it. Okay. For the Most High have shown them signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Asareth. Now that's the Western Hemisphere. Then dwelt they there unto the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. Okay. So now we just gonna prove. Give me a second. You know, because I already wrote this. I already wrote all this down. Okay. Let me get this First Kings again. Because believe it or not, First Kings 9 and 9. Uh, 25. Let me start at 25. 3 times in a year did Solomon offer burnt offering and peace offerings upon the altar which he built up unto the Lord Yahweh, and he burned incense upon the altar that was before Yahweh. So he finished the house. And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion-Geber, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent in a navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon. Right, and those were Hamites. You know, look at those. What is that shit called? Those figures, man, with the head. You know, that you see in the Americas. I forgot what it's called, man. You know, with the fat noses. All right. If only I can remember what it is. You know, it's on the tip of my tongue. Lord, will I remember it? But I'm going to continue to read. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. All right. And if you don't know, America, you know, has a lot of resources. They used to come back, you know, and bring so much stuff from America, man. All right. And this is chapter 10. And the navy also of Hiram that brought gold from Ophir, brought in from Ophir great plenty of almond trees and precious stones. Let me see what I wrote from the notes. Yep. I'm going to read verse 20. And 12 lions stood there upon one side. I'm going to skip to verse 22, Salaki. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with a navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came into the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold, silvery, ivory, and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of earth for riches and wisdom. All right, so we was the first to go over to America, you know. Everyone knows Christopher Columbus did it, you know. All right, the Latinos and Native Americans, they went over to America. All right. You had the Mali Empire went over to America. You had the Vikings, which are our people, went over to the Western Hemisphere as well. All right. Slovakia. Let me just prove this. Let me go back to that second address. 13. Just to prove a point. Verse 44, for the Most High shewed them signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. All right. Now let me go to this First Chronicles 12 and 32. And the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do, and the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. So they had the wisdom of astrology on the right hand side. Now, we don't have that wisdom at all. That shit is the stuff that they do now is on the left hand side. That shit is witchcraft. So let me get this right here. It says Mayan astronomers, priests look to heavens for guidance. They use observatories, shadow casting devices, and observations of the horizon to trace the complex motions of the sun, the stars, and the planets in order to observe, calculate, and record this information in their chronicles or codices. So the Lord was leading them to America. I believe it took 6 months to get there and 6 months to come back. Or 3 months to get there and 3 months to come back. All right, correct me if I'm wrong, Salakia. But nevertheless, just as a matter of fact, let me Hosea 13 and 15. Okay. Though he be fruitful among his brethren, and east wind shall come. All right, and east wind, the wind of Yahweh shall come up from the wilderness, and his springs shall become dry, and his fountains shall be dried up, and shall spoil the treasure of all pleasant vessels. All right. Esau came with his ships from the east. All right. That east wind. All right. And it said, it says, his springs shall become dry, and his fountains shall be dried up. He shall spoil the treasure of all pleasant vessels. What do Esau do now? He takes your resources, man. Samaria shall become desolate, for she have rebelled against her God. They shall fall by the sword, their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. Esau did all that shit to our women, man, and forced them into Christianity. Our people, period. All right, let me see what I wrote down in these notes. Yeah, use all their resources. It got so bad to the point where, Northern Kingdom, Gad were off themselves, so they wouldn't be in the hands of Esau, man. All right, and that east wind is Esau. Now, let me get this Deuteronomy. Because even though Jake went over with the intent to serve the Most High in the Americas, but Jake was going off, still blood sacrificing each other, still, they split off to different tribes. For example, Gad had different tribes, they was going to war with each other. Jake still had an evil eye. Jake was still going off, eating abominations, certain things that was on point. They had fringes. They didn't have the name, but they would say something close to the name, showing you, Jake still remembered. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. That's Esau, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Esau don't show fucking mercy, man. Okay. Esau don't show mercy at all. And this had to happen because, we had to go into captivity again because it was prophesied, and we sinned against the Most High. All right? We went off, man. All right? Let me see what precept I should get next. And while Northern Kingdom was in the Americas, you had Jake still, on the east, all right, going through the Babylonian the Persian captivity, the Greek. You know, you had the, what is it called? The Hellenist time, man. All right, 500 years of our people being forced to abandon their lineage, their culture, you know, and forced into. Let me get that. First Maccabees. Forced into that Greek culture, man. You know, so you know that's why when the apostle was teaching, you know, in the time of the Romans, Jake was so heavy, you know, and rebellious against it, against their truth, their true nationality and heritage, because it's been ingrained in them for so long. You know, it didn't happen in a matter of 10 years. Okay, it happened over hundreds of years, 400 to 500 years. All right, and that's the same thing with our people now. You know, 300, 400 years of straight the white Jesus indoctrination, man. You know, a straight Babylon juice. All right. Now let me get this because I already got it written down. Genesis 49 and 14. Genesis 49 and 14. Issachar is a strong ass. Count you down between two burdens. Now, an ass is a donkey, you know, and a donkey is workers, man, you know. And that two burdens is, you know, Issachar's catching hell, you know, in Mexico, in America. All right. I'm going to continue to read. It said, and he saw that the rest was good. All right. Hey, because that land, all right, Mexico, has a lot of good resources, man. All right, the whole Western Hemisphere. You know, Esau comes and take everything, you know. But that land has a lot of good resources, man. All right, and bowed his shoulder to bear and become a servant to tribute. All right. He's a strong ass. They the hardest workers in the world, man. All right, it's in their spirit. Okay. Let me get this. I can flee mountain. I'm gonna read this Mark 13 and 14, but just to put it out there, you know, while all of this was going on, while Northern Kingdom was chilling in America, like I'm gonna say again, you know, Judah, the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, you know, they went through the Babylonian captivity, the Persian captivity, the Greek captivity, all right, then a Roman captivity, you know, the Hellenistic era. You know, you had 70 A.D. You know, before that, you had the three servile wars. All right, and if you don't know about that, you know, that's about the third servile war was when Spartacus and his men led. You know, if you want to get more into that, you could watch the Spartacus. Then you could go watch Roman Empire. All right, Spartacus is on Prime Video, and Roman Empire is on Netflix, so you can watch that. But I will watch Spartacus first because the servile war came before Julius Caesar came into power, or you know, they were still alive at the same time, but it came before that whole show, you know. So it's just history. All right. Yeah, you know, Jake was going through the servile wars, or you had three servile wars, and you know where Jake, you know, being slaves, rebelled against the Romans, you know, and it wasn't just Jake, it was other heathens, you know, because one thing about Rome that made them so different, you know, they incorporated their slaves, you know, which was old warriors that they conquered, into their army, or they would make them gladiators, or they would make them slaves, you know, so they rebelled. All right, you had the Jewish-Roman War, and then you had 70 A.D., the second time Jerusalem, the temple was sacked, you know, after the Babylonians. All right. Now this is Mark 13 and 14, and we shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing where it out not. Let him that readeth understand that let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. So the Lord said to flee to the mountains. Those are the mountains of Africa, man. Now they spread everywhere, predominantly the west. All right, because if you don't know, it was in 70 AD, but it started 66 AD. All right, and what they did, they starved Jake out. Limited the resources coming in. All right, then started to trap Jake. Jake was fighting, but they eventually lost. Took all the gold, took all the took slaves, took captives, took women. Killed the Jake. Threw him in the arenas, man. But majority of Jakes fled into Africa. You have that from Babylon to Timbuktu. You could read that. Although we don't need that, but that just boosted. And shows it's true. All right, millions. They tell you millions of quote unquote black Jews fled into Africa. And of course we got this Deuteronomy 49. I said 49. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now you don't need a ship to go from Israel to Egypt. You don't need a ship at all to go to Egypt, Israel to Egypt. All right. By the way, whereof I spake unto you, and that Egypt represents captivity, bondage. All right. And we went to America via ships, man. By the way whereof I spake, thou shalt see him no more again. So we never seen our land again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Meaning no man shall redeem you. Meaning no man shall save you, man. We still here. We waiting on the Lord to come redeem us, man. To come buy us. The elect, of course, the 2/3 got to go on this side. All right, what they don't tell you, they'll only tell you how Africans, black people was taken from Africa and put in Americas, but what they don't tell you is that when they was transporting them into the Americas, they was transporting the Latinos and Native Americans into Spain, Why they was transporting the quote unquote blacks into the Caribbeans and America. They was transporting the Northern Kingdom Latinos and Native Americans into Spain and other places, man. Okay, this is all after the Dark Ages, man. After that deadly wound was healed, but that's another video. Okay, this is just about our people going into the Americas. All right, so now, Judah and Israel are together again. All right. Those Latinos and Native Americans, we are predominantly in America. Okay, there's no arguments against that. This is Jeremiah 50 and 33. This is how you know the scriptures is cold, man. You just gotta have an understanding. The Lord gotta be dealing with you, man. And I'm saying that in humility. Jeremiah 50 and 33, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. So now we are oppressed together, man. We all going through it under this devil's rulership. And all they took them captives, held them fast, and they refused to let them go. We still here to this day, man. All right? Their Redeemer is strong. That's talking about Yahweh Shai. The elect is going to be delivered out of here, man. All right? All right, let me get this, should I get Isaiah? Give me a second. Not Ezekiel, Isaiah. Nah, it's fine. I ain't gonna get that. Bro, this is Luke 2 and 30. Everyone knows this precept. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. All right? Because we are rebellious people. Hey, Jake went off. We caused all of this because we went off, man. We suffering this because we sinned. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. Now, we in America, we starting to remember ourselves, man. Starting in the 1960s with the Abba Bivens. Then you had King Masha, High Priest Ariel, High Priest Yaiquab, Apostle Har, Apostle Ramlab. All right? It's like I'm saying what? Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakal, Apostle Ramlab. And, they Tahar elders, Bishop Sakuran, Bishop Manatazak, You know, Bishop, what's the elder name? Bishop Ayathon, Bishop, damn, I keep forgetting the elder name that's big into the history, man. Damn, I watch his videos so much. But damn, I'm gonna remember. It's all good. But yeah, man. You know, which taught our elders. You know, so it go and our elders taught us. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. That shows you how the Lord is dealing with men in an order, man. All right, it says, "Go in the land of their captivity, they shall remember this." But everyone knows about the Israelites, man, whether they acknowledge or not. You know, and shall know that I am the Lord their God, and I will give them a heart, all right, and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think about my name. We doing that right now. In return from their stiff neck, Jake repenting, and from their wicked deeds, and they shall remember the ways of their father, which sinned before the Lord. This the information age. Esau trying his best to block off the information, but the Lord, through the spirit and power, how about Shemel Shai, the Lord is giving Jake these the information, man. All right. And, you know, articles, different stuff. The Lord is allowing it to stay up because just for the prophecy's sake, man. You know, whether they fully know, you know, whether they fully got the doctrine, they still know that they the Israelites. They still know that they the chosen people. You know, now granted, they still gonna be destroyed because the Lord's only dealing with a select few. You know, the elect. But the point still stands. They are people know now, man. You know, and a small remnant is gonna repent. You know, Lord willing, we be able to elect. You know, a small remnant is going to be saved. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They shall be lords of it, and I will increase them. They shall not be diminished, man. You know, we're going to get our land back. And I will make an everlasting covenant to them that be their God, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land where I gave them. Because we're going to be perfect. We ain't going to be no reason to die. We ain't going to be no reason to go off. We're going to have them immortal bodies, man. Them super bodies, man. You know? So, Lord willing, this is an edifying video. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashim Makakodash, Shalom, and a bottle ball.